What's up, everybody? This is the PlayStation Lifestyle Underground podcast. We are the greatest and the only unofficial podcast of PlayStationLifestyle.net. I am Hugo Stiglitz. You can find me on PSN as Hugo Stiglitz _420, and I am with two other guys today. You guys want to say hello?
Yeah, sure. I'm Steve Bitto. I'm the community manager for PlayStation Lifestyle, and you can find me on the forums over there at Steven Bitto, and then also on the PlayStation Network as Tyler X Durden.
And hey, I'm Juan Ibarra, and I'm on PSN as Jackman1997, and on the forums as Johnny Barra.
Awesome. And we are only 12 days away from the final, or at least the final Kojima chapter of the Metal Gear Solid series. So I'm very excited about that. I'm sure you guys are too. But lately, I've been playing a little bit of Metal Gear Solid 4 in preparation. I want to finish it before it comes out, and then do a run through of Metal Gear Solid 5 as well. Ground Zeroes, I mean. But that's a short game, so that'll be easy. I also been playing Project Cars, like usual, F1 2015. Just got Volume, been playing that, that's really good. Just got the Black Ops 3 beta, really enjoying that. Surprisingly pretty good. Rocket League, obviously, pretty much
Always
play that almost every day now. Very close to the Platinum. A little bit of Killzone, and oh wait, yeah, what have I been playing on handheld lately? I've been playing a little bit of everything lately. I just got Resident Evil Revelations 2 on the Vita, so I'm playing a little of that. But that's about it. What have you guys been playing lately?
I've been pretty busy with the website, actually, so I haven't played a whole lot. I beat Limbo on PS4 last weekend, and I started playing Bastion after that. With Until Dawn coming Tuesday, I actually just pre-ordered it.
Oh, cool.
I'm trying to knock out like all these like smaller games. Like I want to beat Bastion, and everybody's gone to the Rapture this weekend before that comes out. Other than that, yeah, just been playing a little bit of Bastion, and I want to beat those games.
No Goat Simulator,
huh? No, not exactly.
What about you, Juan?
I've been playing Rocket League, of course, every day or so, just like a few matches. I've played through Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. I love that game. That was pretty great. And then I am currently, I keep going back to Ground Zeroes just because I'm excited for the Phantom Pain. And what else? Oh, Goat Simulator, of course. I'm playing that occasionally. Fun, stupid little game. And then that's all on PS4. I have PS Vita. I've been playing Stealth Inc. 2. I'm still trying to get my way through that game. Other than that, I've been pretty slow gaming. Actually, no. Also, that is a small game, about $2 or so, called Kung Fury. It's on PSN, and I bought it from PS4. It's a lot of fun. It's addictive, and it's also on Android and iPhone, I'm assuming. It's a lot of fun though. Small, a good price, $2 for about half an hour of fun.
That's cool.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I actually did get Goat Simulator 2. Haven't played it a ton, but it is pretty funny. There are a couple things in there that made me laugh. It's like an alien ship that'll abduct you and stuff, but it's just like a really goofy game, and yeah, I do like that kind of game. I think I like it that people are putting out that sort of thing, although I think it is going a little too far sometimes, like with stuff like I Am Bread. Like, that just seems dumb.
That seems cool. I don't know what you're talking about.
That one looks dumb as hell to me. I played their other game, the Surgeon Simulator game. I just did not like that at all. Like it. Yeah. I don't know. There was another one someone told me about. Oh, man, I wish I could remember the name of it, but it literally looked like one of the dumbest games I've ever seen. what the hell was it? I really wish I could remember, but I can't. Oh well. On to our topics. This week we wanted to talk about the fact that PlayStation, kind of didn't go to Gamescom. I mean, they did as far as like providing demos to the public for certain games, but they didn't have a conference. Like, they didn't have any presentations really. And also the fact that they're doing Paris Games Week instead. They also announced just this week, I think, that they're going to do PSX again, which is really cool. But also we want to talk a little bit about Microsoft and what they had to do at Gamescom. I actually didn't watch their presentation from Gamescom. Did either of you guys see it?
No.
No, I didn't actually watch it. No.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, but I assume that that you guys probably did hear some of the announcements coming out of that. I don't know, anything that piqued your interest at all, or?
I mean, I just, part of me like thought they had some cool stuff, but on the other hand, like, I felt like they didn't really take advantage of it that much. Like, I mean, there's some reveals, but was it really anything like groundbreaking? Was it really anything that Sony was like, oh wow, we needed to match that? I don't think so.
Yeah, no. It was just some
Me neither.
interesting gameplay and stuff like that. Quantum Break. It's been a while since we've seen some of that. There were some cool, interesting details about that. Also, Scalebound was pretty interesting as well. Just like small demos that were fascinating to watch.
Yeah, I kind of felt like that might have been a better time to announce the backwards compatibility, because I mean, Sony, even that was a huge announcement, and Sony overshadowed it with their E3 conference.
Yeah.
There where Sony doesn't even have a conference at all, like, it would have been huge. It would have been all people were talking about probably until like these games like Metal Gear Solid started coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But that's small error, but I mean, they still took advantage of it somewhat. The thing is, though, is that like Sony, I believe, has set them up to be so much better by not like taking the bait. I feel like Microsoft totally took the bait, and they kind of like used up everything they had, and now Sony is going to dominate the end of this year. Even though Microsoft is going to have games coming out, people are going to be talking about what Sony is revealing, what Sony's doing for the fans between Paris Games Week and PlayStation Experience.
Yeah. And I have a feeling that at Paris Games Week we're gonna have some pretty good announcements there. I'll be a bit surprised if they don't finally announce the release date of No Man's Sky there. Also, games like that have been in the works forever, like Rime or The Witness, especially. Like, I'll be surprised if those games don't get shown there at all. Like, and they really should be, because it's been a long time, especially for The Witness. But
The Witness is so long.
Yeah, I really feel like Paris Games Week, because it's not as huge scale as E3, that they will spend a little more time on the, kind of smaller indie games, but well, I don't mean smaller indie games, I mean just like smaller games, like indies and other kind of like mid-tier projects, not like the huge AAA stuff, but like there's quite a bit of indies but like really interesting stuff that's in the works that they just haven't talked about recently. They've pretty much, like that game Wild that they showed last year at Gamescom. I mean, there's a million of them. I can't even remember them all. I only can remember the ones I'm really interested in, like Abzu and stuff like that, and Shadow of the Beast. So I feel like Paris Games Week could really be pretty huge for PlayStation if they decide to, announce some of those stuff. I mean, if those games are ready. If they're not, I don't know.
I mean, Alienation will definitely be there.
Another
for
one,
Housemarque.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, do you think they might be able to get that out before the end of the year? Do you think?
Yeah, I think
they said they planned
I think
on
there's
it.
a pretty good chance of that. Housemarque is really like they run a tight ship over there. It seems like they get their stuff out on time always.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, they're an awesome studio. But yeah, like there's A lot of the haters love to say that Sony has nothing going on this fall, but it's just not true. I mean, we not only do we have obviously all the multi-platform stuff, but there's also quite a bit of smaller stuff like the Talos Principle or
I'm so excited for that.
Yeah, I mean, really, really interesting game. I've heard so many good things about it on PC, and also Soma. That's another one.
Oh yeah,
Adrift. I think Adrift is going to Xbox though, but
yeah, just going to Xbox.
Yeah, but there is quite a bit of stuff that's why I have this friend. He doesn't buy anything but retail games, and I'm like, dude, you're always saying you don't have nothing to play, and that's why. It's this generation, you're really gonna have to start, learning to pay attention to the digital games and not just the PS Plus stuff. Actually, speaking of PS Plus, did you guys see that whole new thing where we're voting for one of the free games next month?
Yeah, that's a nice feature. I like that.
Yeah, which one do you guys pick?
Grow Home.
Yeah, Grow Home.
Me too.
Yeah. I mean, it was that or Armello, and I'm not that into. Or if I voted for Armello, then I don't know. No one really. I wouldn't have anyone that was really interested in it. So I'd just be left alone with a game that's made for multiplayer by myself. So Grow Home is the one I chose.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of good things.
Was more in line with something that I can kind of get into, even though it's maybe more of a niche title.
Yeah.
For sure. I think that would probably be the only one that I would actually really try to play, to be honest. But I think it is winning. It is in the lead, so most likely that'll be the one we get. But back to Gamescom. We did mention Quantum Break. That's one of the games that Xbox has that I'm actually really looking forward to and really tempted by. I really liked Alan Wake.
Yeah.
I don't know if did you guys get to play that game at all? It was Xbox and PC
I bought it
only,
on
so.
PC. I didn't get very far. I finished the first episode, chapter-ish type of thing, but I never finished it. It was nice. I liked it. It was very enjoyable.
It was actually a really cool game, and it definitely gets better. The first chapter or so is a little slow, but it definitely picks up big time as you go through the game. And I thought Quantum Break actually looks really, really cool with all the time mechanics and stuff. And I'm not sure what to think about the whole TV integration thing, though. Not sure how that's gonna work.
Yeah, just sort of.
I've kind of heard mixed things about that. I think Kotaku had a pretty good piece on that, saying that it kind of was breaking up the pace and kind of throwing things off when they were playing it.
Yeah, I can imagine. Also, we had some more. I guess you could almost call it propaganda with them. Crackdown 3 saying how the cloud will make the Xbox One 20 times more powerful or some nonsense like that.
Yeah. How is that?
And
I don't understand the logic behind that. What was it again? How does it make sense? I don't.
It doesn't. That's the thing. I mean, they say it's 20 times more computational power, and if it's anything real time, it's not going to work. If it's other stuff maybe it will, but it's not going to be any type of the game changer they like to make it sound like with their headlines. They did that from the start of this generation with the whole cloud power of the cloud stuff, and it's really just never going to work because the internet is not at that state where you can actually run that type of computations through the internet in real time. Not only because of latency, but bandwidth. Most people have slow connections. The average connection speed is only 3 megabytes per second download and 1 megabyte up, which is very slow, I can tell you, because that's about what I have. And it cannot handle even streaming games, let alone streaming that kind of heavy computation. Because the data being transferred for that type of CPU processes and calculations like that, especially physics, is just crazy compared to the normal type of data transfer that we deal with as far as downloading a game or transferring between USB. There's a lot maybe most of the buses, like a USB or even a SATA bus, can't even handle those type of computations, because usually they take place internally in the actual CPU, between the RAM and stuff. So, and like those buses are much more wide open as far as bandwidth. I mean, they can transfer a lot more data. So I don't know exactly like what they're doing, but the spin they're putting on it is kind of a little misleading, but.
I mean, I've already read that, like, for instance, like, that the complete, like, destruction, that's only going to be multiplayer. That will not be single player. Single player is, like, selective destruction, just like, I guess, the past games were.
Yeah, that's what's weird, because, that must mean...
it's similar to, I don't know why... Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. That must mean that destruction, or like maybe even the buildings themselves, are being streamed to the consoles from a server, like, because otherwise, that type of like, because if it's only for multiplayer, that means they have to be connected. That's the only thing I could think of where it would actually work. But the problem with that is if you're going to be streaming that much data, like entire buildings in a game, it is something the internet can handle, or most people's connections can handle, but it's not quite like what they're making it out to be, and it is a little confusing how they're going to make it work solidly. What's it called? Like it's kind of like game streaming, I would assume, because that's the only way I could think of it actually being feasible. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that would
Makes
explain
sense.
why it doesn't work in single player, because obviously the Xbox One itself can't handle that type of stuff. So, but that also, I don't know if you guys have tried like game streaming and stuff. There is a little bit of extra lag, and also the visual quality is a bit lower, and I just have a feeling that it's going to be really buggy. And if they get it to work, more power to them. But yeah, I don't know what to think about it. And also, I never really played the Crackdowns in last generation, but it doesn't look like, I don't know, I'm not interested in it per se. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't know. It looks like it'd be fun, but it's not something I must have. I would rather have a Sunset Overdrive, honestly.
Or Just Cause 3.
I like Insomniac a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Just Cause 3. That's basically a better solution.
Yeah, and when I was watching the gameplay, it actually reminded me a lot of it, because even the like the camera perspective and the grenade throw was like identical to Just Cause. So and plus the whole idea of destruction and stuff, like it is kind of Just Cause, except the sci-fi and stuff. But I'm actually very excited about Just Cause, but I don't know. I feel like Crackdown will have to win me over before I'll really be excited about it at all.
If I may just say one more thing about Gamescom and kind of Microsoft's approach in general. Recently, like, this generation, I feel like the media is like because they're so far behind, the media is not calling them on anything, Like, there's three main things. It's the Crackdown thing, the backwards compatibility, and there's one more thing I was thinking of. Anyway, those two things mainly. They come out and say like a blanket statement, but that's not what it is, like, whatsoever. And then no one calls them on it, Like, the backwards compatibility is very limited compared to the way they presented it at E3. But literally no outlets are saying anything about that.
Yeah.
The podcasts I listen to even, like, talk about it as though the blanket statement is what's true. And they're, like, professionals in the industry. They have to know that is not the case at all.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you guys listen to the Kinda Funny Gamescast.
Yeah.
Like, they were, like, all about it, and I'm thinking, like, you guys are well aware that this cannot do, like, all the Xbox games, all the Xbox 360 games. Like, that is not what it is whatsoever, but that's the way you're talking about it right now.
Yeah, it's very limited.
Yeah, I did notice that, like, that they have been very big on Microsoft lately, which is kind of weird, because they've always been PlayStation guys, but I think part of it is they're not, like you said, they're not fully aware of the fact that not all the games are going to work. Also, some of the games that they've tested so far are not running very well. Like you mentioned how like most of the press is not covering not calling them out. Well, the only ones I've seen has been some of the more technical websites like Digital Foundry on Eurogamer, and they did actually do an article about the performance of the backwards compatibility on Xbox One, and it's pretty bad. Like a lot of the games are running worse than they are on 360. Some are okay, but like Mass Effect, for one, is like the frame rate is in the teens a lot of the time, and so it's like that's something they're really gonna have to straighten out. And also, they have it's not like the full library, so I think people should slow down before they go praising them to high heaven. And the same thing with the Crackdown thing. I mean, the only people who are going to call them out for that are the people that are the more technical people that understand what it actually is, and the fact that it's not really making your Xbox 20 times more powerful. It's just using a server with 20 times more computational power to stream certain assets into the game while you're playing online. Like, it's not... Yeah. And there are going to be big time limitations to that as well. So it's like, I see what you're saying. Like, but I think a lot of it is just because there's a certain part of the market. I mean, the industry that's like has the technical knowledge, but there's another huge part of it, and most of them are the ones that are, the journalists actually writing these articles are, they're not quite as well versed in the the technical stuff with gaming. And I think, Colin and Greg are perfect example. I mean, I love them. Like, I really respect their opinions on games, and I think most of the time they're on the money, but there are some cases where they, they don't quite know as much as they probably should when it comes to the technical stuff.
Yeah, honestly, I think part of it with Kind of Funny is that they understand that they have a bigger audience now, and that they kind of have to cater to them. They can't be PlayStation fanboys. Yeah. So
yeah, I don't
know if you noticed, like, the podcast was that the title of it was Xbox is killing it right now or something like that, and I was like,
yeah, I think
you're trying a little too hard.
I didn't even watch it, to be honest, and maybe the title was part of the reason, but I've fallen back on that podcast. I used to listen to everyone, but I don't know, between them delaying their podcast to a week later after they actually did it, and also putting it in bits and pieces until they finally put out the full one, kind of. But that's not what annoying. Our podcast is about. So we'll get back to the topic. But
the other thing that I was thinking of with Microsoft was the Tomb Raider exclusivity thing. We don't have to really get hung up on it, but that too was something that no one really called them on, the fact that it was pretty much just dishonest. There's a difference between saying, like, it comes to this console first. That implies that it's coming to everything else later, but first it's coming to the console who announces it, right? But with that, they just came out and said it was exclusive, and everyone was like, "That's crazy," and kind of knew it wasn't true. And then, sure enough, a year later, not true.
And I mean, that's what's annoying, because I don't know if you got noticed, but what did it say at the end of the Final Fantasy VII Remake trailer?
Did it say first to PlayStation 4?
Exactly.
Yeah,
and it's like that's a game it's a huge announcement for them. It's not coming out for a long time too, but they still weren't trying that, exclusive. Like, they weren't trying to lie. They weren't trying to be deceitful. And but they've done that for pretty much every game so far. Like, almost any time they announce a game, they always say coming first to PlayStation, or console exclusive to PlayStation, or something like that.
Yeah, Hellblade was the same thing.
Yeah.
First to console on PlayStation.
So that's what's annoying about Tomb Raider, is because Xbox really did try to make it sound like, oh no, we're not certain whether or not it's coming to PS4, and and Square Enix went along with it, which is even more annoying.
Yeah.
Because it's like, they obviously knew
which
that
that's the other thing too, is that does happen where someone is developing a game and it's coming to PlayStation 4, and the developer doesn't know if they're bringing it to Xbox One later or vice versa. You know, it's coming out first. Like Limbo, for instance, that's a great example. Where, you know, they were just focused on Xbox 360. They had a deal with Microsoft to come there first, so they brought it out there. And then later down the road, after the launch was solid, they brought it to PlayStation platforms, and now it's on literally every platform imaginable. But, you know, that's a good example of, you know, they didn't, like, sugarcoat it. They just said, we're coming to Xbox One first. We don't know about stuff later, but we're not ruling it out. You know, that happens, but this was not one of those cases.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's pretty obvious what they had planned, but they let their wording kind of make it sound like it was something else. And, I mean, that's, like, it's pretty annoying because it's very deceitful, and it's just bullshit. But, I mean, no one really called them out on it. I mean, there are obviously a lot of fans, but I didn't see, like, the media or anything calling them out on the whole thing. Because I think they tried to play dumb, like, as if that it might not actually come to PlayStation 4, which we all knew was obviously nonsense. Obviously, it's coming.
Yeah.
But anyway, I kind of threw us on a tangent, but to get us kind of back toward where we were going was just that Microsoft, you know, they've had the microphone, if you will, for Gamescom, and now Sony is kind of going to have to, you know, fight back this fall and without major exclusives. So that's kind of what I want to talk about is how do you think they're going to do it? Do they have a chance? Like, is Microsoft really going to gain an upper hand? What's going to happen?
I think, like... Sorry, go ahead.
The third parties are going to win here. I mean, we have, what? Metal Gear Solid 5 coming out in a few weeks. Well, like 2 weeks or so? A week? I don't know. Yeah. Very close. And then we have Fallout 4, which is huge as well. And then, what else do we have that's big? I'm blanking right now.
Star Wars Battlefront?
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. Star Wars. I can't think of anything else. but yeah, those
then there's Call of Duty, too.
Call of Duty. And Destiny is Destiny. Yeah, just huge titles coming out this year. And, I mean, Xbox has... What do they have? They have Tomb Raider, which, I mean, comes out the same day as Fallout 4, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah, which is insane.
Yeah, which is that's.
Why would you spend that money and then?
Yeah, that sucks for them. Yeah. And then what else do they have this winter or fall?
Is it Halo and the Gears collection?
Yeah. Well, Gears, it's just one game.
Yeah, but... Gears of War Ultimate Edition or whatever.
It's just Gears 1?
Yeah, just one. And then Halo 5, I guess, but Halo is Halo, and I feel like since it's not Bungie, and Halo 4 did... I'm not sure how it did, but I'm not sure if it did... I'm sure it didn't do as well as the other Halos. I feel like the third parties are going to be much bigger hits, both financially and critically.
Yeah, I mean, if you just think about the sales power of those third-party games, I mean, think about it. Like Star Wars, I think they said the target is 10 million copies, which is crazy. And like Call of Duty will match that, Fallout will match that. I mean, why would you put your exclusive up against those? Sony really... I mean, everyone was kind of hammering them for not having anything this fall, but they probably knew ahead of time that it would be suicide to launch your big exclusives against those.
Yeah,
I didn't even think of that, but you're right.
Yeah, it's absolutely terrible the situation that Microsoft's in with their huge news of that they're gonna have Tomb Raider as an exclusive for a year or so, and it ends up being in a very crowded winter season.
Yep. I mean, Call of Duty's got to be November, right?
Yeah. It is, yeah.
Is it? Yeah. So that's Call of Duty, Fallout, and Star Wars all coming out in the same month. I mean, right there, I mean, just think about how many copies that's going to sell to... I mean, while the PS4 and Xbox One are selling like crazy, there still aren't that many of them out there, So if you think that those are going to sell probably the same amount of copies as there are consoles out there, I mean, so that means every Xbox One exclusive, the person, the parent, whoever's buying Christmas gifts has to buy more than one game because they probably already got Fallout, Star Wars, or Call of Duty.
Yeah.
In addition to the other games that are coming out, because there's other third-party games that are huge coming out. Is Street Fighter? Is that this year?
I believe so. Maybe.
Is it? I didn't think so, but
Seems
I could
like
be wrong.
I don't know if that's spring.
I don't know.
I know they got the beta going on, but I don't know if they ever announced any release date for that. I mean, I do know.
Either way, I think Sony, I just wanted to kind of talk about how, them kind of, they're going to have the microphone too at the PlayStation Experience in December. They're going to be telling you about what's coming out in the spring and stuff and next year. And Paris Games Week before that.
Yeah.
I mean, they really are setting themselves up for a major success. I think, people are saying that Microsoft is going to have the upper hand. I think they're severely short-sighted and narrow-minded in what business strategy really is. And I think Sony is going to kill it.
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying that because I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, no, it's definitely true because, I mean, conventional wisdom would say, release your games near Christmas in the fall time. That's what, pretty much they've always done. But more recently, we've seen success stories like Dying Light. There's been others the years before it, where, if you release your game at a time where there's no other games coming out, there's a strong chance that it might be a huge hit. Like Dying Light had a ton of sales, and if they had not delayed
Bloodborne.
Oh yeah, a perfect example.
Because Bloodborne, I mean, the Dark Souls and Demon Souls games, they didn't really reach like a massive audience.
Mm-hmm.
I'd venture to believe that Bloodborne sold more on PS4 than the other one sold, kind of as a percentage of the install base, more than the Dark Souls games.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Simply because it was just a good timing release with kind of a more wider scope, aiming at the audience, and it really worked out for them too.
I mean, it was also like very, very well received. Pretty much, and I think it actually probably got a lot of more casual gamers into that type of hardcore game because it's like I've talked to people that probably never would have touched Dark Souls that were very into Bloodborne, and I think I think it is a very good idea to release games throughout the entire year instead of trying to stack all your cards in the final quarter, which is what Microsoft are doing. And although I won't be surprised if the Xbox One does outsell PS4 in America for maybe the last couple of months, I mean, because it did it last year, just because they dropped like $100 off the price or whatever, and we're doing these crazy bundles, so it's kind of hard. But the funny thing is it was still a close race. Like PS4 apparently only lost by like a couple thousand on December, which and the month before. So it's like I won't be surprised if Xbox does sell a little more in America, but I think overall PS4 is still just killing it. And some people, I think Colin, like we're going kind of funny. He was saying, Sony's in real trouble. I just totally disagree because, like you said, I mean, all these huge third-party games that are coming out, it's like it's almost kind of a better thing that Sony has nothing this fall.
And see, that was my problem with him is that, like, for someone that he has very good foresight on market strategy and business strategy, he has to know that he's like dead wrong on that.
Yeah. And
here's the thing that I was just thinking of actually is that, think about going into holiday season. It's November, all these games are coming out, and then Sony's got these press conferences, and people are thinking about what console to buy. Excuse me, and they're hearing these amazing, announcements coming out of like Paris Games Week and PSX. So are you going to be basing your purchase off, Halo that Christmas or the amazing game Sony has coming out next year? Because you're already playing Fallout right at that moment, or Star Wars.
Yeah,
you're probably going to base it on the stable of games Sony just blew everyone away with.
Yeah.
Maybe Colin is looking at like the really more casual part of the market, the type of people that don't pay attention to gaming news sites and stuff. But I think things are changing. I think like that's part of the market is getting smaller and smaller, and I think because everyone has computers now, and I think a lot of people pay attention to gaming websites nowadays. So I think like, you see E3 getting it more and more viewers every year. Like, there's more and more people that know about it every single year.
Right.
So I think it's that huge part of the market is kind of going down. Plus word of mouth is a huge thing too. So I think maybe he's overestimating that part of the market and underestimating the problem that all those third-party games present. And I think Sony is very, very smart to release the Uncharted collection when they are. The beginning of October, there's really nothing coming out. And Until Dawn is a little too close to Metal Gear Solid 5, but it'll, there's plenty of time between that and November where people can still buy it, especially leading up to Halloween. Sony could make a big push, even though they're supposed to market the game before the game comes out. They haven't done that. They might be just saving to market it for Halloween. They're like, hey, here's the perfect game to play on Halloween. And who knows? It would be kind of funny, but I wouldn't be surprised either because they really have not done much to market that game. So it would be an interesting strategy.
Think people I think they're overestimating the power of the Halo and the Gears.
Oh, for sure.
Games, I feel like those are so well established that if someone really needs to get that game, they were getting an Xbox One before Xbox One was announced.
True.
Yeah. If they really need to have Halo, they knew that they couldn't have it. They're not going to get a PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
So I really don't see how that's going to really push more or less consoles. Those people all knew they were getting an Xbox One for Halo.
Yeah. And also
they're
another
not really
thing
waiting to find out if it's good or bad. They need Halo.
Yeah. Also, I don't think they're super embedded in the whole Halo fan base, but a lot of people were actually very, very disappointed with Halo 4. A lot of the hardcore Halo fans that I know were very disappointed with it. And I know it did get some good review scores and stuff. And I don't know, to me it seemed like a good game. I played a little bit of the single player and I enjoyed it. But as far as the multiplayer and just overall, it was pretty poorly received. And I think it might be one of the worst received by the fan base of them all, possibly. Other than some of the smaller stuff like Halo Wars. But as far as the major Halos, I feel like the series is kind of they're in a downslide right now. I think a lot of the people I've talked to have been, and the community in general has been pretty disappointed with 343. Which is a shame because technically they're very good. What they did with Halo 4 on the graphics side of it was incredible, especially for a 360 game. And especially after the Halo Master Chief Collection, with all those issues they had with the multiplayer and stuff, I think people are probably starting to get a little disenfranchised with the Halo series, and I'm sure there's a lot of people are going to buy Halo 5. But if this game ends up not being good, it's not going to be the powerhouse that it used to be, and I already don't think it is now, anyways. But especially because the new Halo is very more. They're adding in things that are not Halo. They're adding things that are a little more Call of Duty type or Titanfall. They have double jumping and a lot of the Titanfall type stuff with jetpacks. But also they're for the first time there's a lot of aiming down sights any gun, and
which is weird
a
for
lot
Halo.
of the hardcore Halo fans hate that. I personally like it. This seems like the more type of Halo that I would like because I always hated not aiming down sights. But the Halo fan base is not super into that thing so far, and a lot of people were disappointed with the beta. So I think that because that maybe Colin only pays attention to the media and stuff. I don't think he realizes that Halo is not the powerhouse it once was, and it's actually kind of in a decline. I mean, Call of Duty isn't much different either. I mean, it's also going downhill. I mean, it's no longer the biggest thing in gaming, but I think there's just some little short-sightedness on his part, I guess. But
right. And not to really turn this into a Microsoft bash fest, which it kind of
definitely not. No,
I kind of made it into. Like we kind of all said, there's games on Xbox One we really want. Like I really want Sunset Overdrive, but
yeah, me too.
Just it does seem like the media has been a little hesitant to call them on some of their BS stuff, and they're a little quick to call Sony on theirs. Kind of maybe to even the field because Sony is running away with it this generation. Like,
true.
No one could have predicted how crazy this gap would be at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that part of it is, just the way that Xbox launched, and I mean, they definitely have turned things around. So I think that's a huge reason why the media and people like Colin are all over Microsoft right now. Like they're very pleased with them. I mean, and rightfully so. I mean, it was horrible at launch, and they definitely have turned things around. But as far as people saying things like Sony's in trouble, I think it's way too quick to say stuff like that, and that's my main only issue with what some of the people that are lauding all that praise on Microsoft. That's my issue with them. Like, it's not that they're wrong. It's just that they're kind of thinking that Sony's in trouble when they're really not. Like, I really don't think so, and I especially think next year because all the huge games coming out for Sony, Horizon, Uncharted 4, The Last Guardian. I really think that the gap is going to widen probably pretty big next year, and especially because they're intelligently spacing out the releases. I mean, I don't know about the other two, but Uncharted 4 has a rumored release date of March. Yeah. Which I think would be perfect. Like, much like Infamous, much like Bloodborne. I think that's a very good time to release games, and I think they're smart to do so. Also, EA too. Like they're putting out Mirror's Edge Catalyst in the end of February, which I also think is a really good idea too.
It's a good spot.
And I can't wait to play that game because I know not everybody is going to buy Mirror's Edge Catalyst in the fall when they're going up against other stuff, like the games we mentioned. I personally would, but now that they're putting it in February, I think they're set up for some big time success there. I think hopefully more people have been open to the whole Mirror's Edge thing because I know it didn't do super well on last gen, but I think it was a really, really good game.
Yeah, I liked it a lot too, actually.
Yeah.
Is anything announced for January? Because that's when Dying Light found its major success.
Not that I can think of.
I'd be surprised if someone didn't try to follow that up.
Yeah. That is another good month to release stuff. Like Dying Light did extremely well thanks to that. Also, they're putting out a whole bunch of new content. It's almost like a whole another game within the game, as far as DLC, to kind of say thanks to all the fans that bought the game. That's how well they did. They're pretty much like giving back to the fans, which seems like it's a rare thing nowadays, in the game industry.
Yeah.
I guess that's how well they did. As far as on January, I don't see nothing. It says Lego Marvel Avengers and something. Battleborn is February 9th. The Division March, Mafia 3 April. I do know Doom is coming out next spring, supposedly, which is going to be awesome. But other than that, Uncharted, I think hopefully it'll be much like this year where we have big releases sprinkled throughout the entire year. Like I think this year we've had one of the, possibly the strongest first half of a year as far as games goes as for as long as I can remember. I don't remember any other year where like the first 6 months of a year were as strong as this year's was,
Yeah, we were strong.
I would agree. Like I don't remember buying this many games every year.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I already have like 5 or 6.
It's like killing our wallets. but it is kind of good
for real.
spreading it out like that, because I think it's better that way, like spreading them out instead of just piling them in November, which they usually do, but luckily it's not too much like that, and I'm actually kind of glad. But I don't know, what do you guys think about PSX?
I enjoyed last year's PSX. That was a nice show. It was also the first year, though, and I feel like as the second year, maybe it'll be bigger. Maybe some more. I don't see what. Maybe a little bit of third-party influence under the PlayStation banner. Like exclusive content. But
that's actually a great
I don't know
point.
What to expect, really. I'm just excited for it. Excited to see what they have to show.
Yeah, I foresee a third-party presence as well. I mean, I think last year you can't ignore how big a deal that was in the gaming space. Just Sony having the microphone and doing whatever they want, and really coming out with some really great content. I think third parties, especially the type that might have been at E3, are going to be there. I would expect, Battlefront. I guarantee there'll be something about Battlefront there.
Yeah.
They're teaming up with Sony now for the limited edition consoles and all that. I guarantee they'll have some kind of DLC there. Maybe Lego Dimensions.
Oh yeah, maybe that. I'm so excited for that.
I can't do that just because it's gonna cost so much to get everything you want. I think.
Yeah.
But everything I see is absolutely amazing. I can't believe how true they are to every single franchise.
That's great. It's absolutely fantastic. I put every single just to see. I put a bunch of the unlock the story packs and stuff like that into my cart on Amazon, and not including the game, it was around $300.
Jeez.
Yeah, so it would cost me a PS4 pretty much to buy Lego Dimensions and everything that I would enjoy with it.
Oh wow!
So that's why I didn't want to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Not that it doesn't all look totally worth it. Everything I've seen, makes me want to play it.
But I think PSX is a really, really cool conference, and I love how it's all about PlayStation. If I was gonna pick any conference to go to, that would be the one I'd want to go to. I mean, I'd rather go there than E3.
And it's for fan service too. That's what I love the most.
Yeah.
It is just for the fans. It's not going to be all the business stuff. It's not going to be all the conference stuff. It's not even going to be the media stuff. It's 100% for the fans,
Just fans.
And I'm going this year, so I'm really excited.
Lucky.
I can't wait to see what they do.
Lucky.
Yeah, I mean, it had a really cool vibe last year, I thought, and I think that we might see something similar to last year, where how they showcased. Unfortunately, my audio got cut off here for some reason, so gonna have to end it. Thanks for listening. See you next time.